Anyone remember Chaotic? Did you know it had a video game? What's up, nerds? Chaotic Shadow Warriors is a video game based on the TV show Chaotic, which was made to sell the TCG of the same name. Before I get too deep, let me say right now that this is not a dive into the mechanics of Chaotic or how to play the traditional game. If you'd like to see something like that, then let me know in the comments. Until then, I will continue under the assumption that you already have familiarity with the basics of Chaotic and its lore. Chaotic Shadow Warriors has you playing as the show's main protagonist, Tom Majors. He's on task by the Codemasters to test a new experimental scanner that projects life-size holograms of the scans it holds. But the story actually starts the night before this. In the overworld capital city of Kiru, the arsenal is raided and several crates of battle gear are stolen. Atacat pursues them, and that's when Max stumbles into this plot and offers to help search for the crates. When he finds them, he picks up a stray Pyroblaster, and the game gives our first scan, a 2-star scan of Atacat. I'll go into the stars later, just know that it is important. It's at this point where the meat of the game is unlocked. First, movement. Tom moves through these locations with a modest speed and very floaty jumps. This game has some very weak moments of 3D platforming, but the weird floatiness of his jumps can make them tricky until you get used to it. Whenever there's a fork in the road or you get turned around, you can press a button to zoom the camera into the direction that you are supposed to go in order to progress the plot. But it's imperative to go off the beaten path. Any path that isn't story progress will hold battle gear and or music that will be vital as the game progresses. Every single scan in this game that is not a creature is finite. Once it's used, it's gone. So you'll want to get as many possible scans so you always have options for your creatures in battle. In battle, you'll start with only one available slot, but as you progress the story, more will be available until you have 3 frontline slots and 2 rear slots. Frontline creatures can do any action they are capable of: attack, music, ability, and taunt, while creatures in the rear cannot declare an attack. The strength of your attacks are governed by the stats of the attacker and the target, as well as the rules of the attack you're using, so you have to always check each of your available attacks to determine what the best course of action will be. In order to attack, most will require the cost of action points, or AP. The stronger a move is, the more AP it'll cost. Each creature has the basic attack, which barely does any damage, but is very useful for generating AP quickly. Music can be cast up to as many times as you have Musicians, which get pooled across all the creatures' individual supplies. For example, Bodil has 2 and Maxor has 3. Put them both in your army and you have 5 Musicians for any creature to use. An important detail to remember is that certain musics are restricted to certain tribes. Underworlders can't use Mepedian musics and vice versa. Abilities can be divided between inherent skills a creature may possess, which consume a Musician to use, or sacrificing their battle gear to activate its effect. Taunting decreases all enemy creatures' courage and grants 3 AP. The amount of courage dropped varies on the creature that is taunting. Bodil drops it by 1, Atacat drops it by 3, and Maxor drops it by 10. Also, any stats lost get regained once the turn resets. Assigning your army for battle is more constrictive in this game than in the traditional card game. Put simply, mixed armies are weak and inefficient. More significant and powerful creatures can't be put in mixed armies of the game. Other creatures have certain other creatures from different tribes that won't go into the same army as them. As an example, Intris and Takinam cannot be placed in the same army, even though it's entirely plausible in the main game. Whatever tribe you prefer is your discretion, as all of them have highly valuable creatures you can scan for your army in this game, but it's only best to use just one tribe for the entirety of your playthrough. When an enemy creature makes a move, you have two options at your disposal. You can block, in which you try to raise the meter without filling it, or you can scan, where you keep your cursor in the marker to expedite the process. It's your responsibility to decide what's worth risking for a scan, and which is better off blocking. After fighting a Mopedian, it devolves into smoke, which is not normal. After beating enough of them, we obtain a broken fragment of a Mujik. We learn that Maxor is at Gigantempopolis, say that 5 times fast, and pursue so that we can warn him about these strange shadow creatures. When we get there, Bodil explains that one of the stolen pieces of battle gear is what is making the shadows, and that's the only method of deactivating the device is with a singularly powerful Mujik that was broken apart, its pieces lost to the wilds of peril. Now, Tom uses his scanner to tune to their frequency, allowing us to track them, except that we already have a mechanic that tells us where to go, meaning the radar at the top of the screen is completely superficial. Roaming the locations is novel if you're a fan of the game, getting to explore these places that you can only see on a card. Too bad it's so damn boring. The exploration portion of the game has no background music or ambience in them. It's just silence, save for your footsteps. Thankfully, the game makes up for it by having the battles be challenging in how you have to min-max your choices. Creatures, battle gear, attacks, everything. A perfect example is when we have to battle Shadow Maxor at the end of your Gigantempopolis visit. I did this fight twice. First, without worrying about anything other than striking him down, and second, when I went out of my way to scan him twice. This is important, and again, I will get to it in a moment. Trying to survive Maxor's attacks while restraining my strength from doing too much damage while I try to get the scans made in between blocking his more devastating attacks is brutal. I let out a sigh of relief when I finally got the 2 scans and was allowed to defeat him. As for the first attempt, yeah, you know what? You should just see it for yourself.
This will start my winning shriek! Shriek-shar! Time to smash ashore! Rockwell! This should kick you good! Ectospasm!
You are apparently not aware of my exquisite tactical skills.
Sorry for the runaround. This should fit you good. Ectospasm!
I didn't edit that at all, by the way. The reason I only wanted 2 scans is because you're given a scan of Maxor for beating him, and by merging 3 scans of a creature with the same rank, you can increase its rank by 1. That way, I was able to immediately get a full power Maxor scan, which gives me a colossal advantage on the battlefield. After pursuing shadow interests, Tom learns that Maxor is being held at the Mippedim Oasis, home base of the Mepedian tribe. So, we teleport there to continue the mission. This stage of the game has a lot of booby traps that you have to work around, annoyingly including this one, where you have to walk a specific path that's only visible when standing on these specific tiles. The real problem is that you have to then do it in reverse, and there's no tiles to reveal the safe path. That being said, this is genuinely the worst puzzle in the game, and it's never going to be this annoying again for the rest of the experience. So, I'm at least glad that I never have to worry about something this frustrating again. On the way to free Maxor, I encountered a shadow of Heptad, and I knew immediately that I needed to scan him enough times to get a max star Heptad for my army. For the unfamiliar, Heptad is arguably one of, if not the most broken creature in the game. He's the only creature that has all 4 elements, meaning his attack pool is absurd, but he also has a unique trait that he can use Mujic from any tribe, which really comes in handy for all the Mepedian, Danian, and Underworld Mujics I'm getting. We free Maxor and continue collecting Mujic fragments into the Danian and Underworld territories, where the shadows are causing more and more chaos among the tribe's ranks. And now that we're starting to run into Underworlders, we are introduced to something that I started to hate immediately. Cannon of Causality. This is an Underworld Mujic that deals 20 damage to the target. 20! For context, if you've never played the game before, 15 damage is considered a heavy hit. Anything higher than that is potentially strong enough to cripple or outright one-shot most of my creatures that I use. And literally, every Underworld army I face loves to spam this goddamn Mujic. This is where Heptad's access to all healing Mujics helped me preserve my Song of Resurgence stock, which I knew I would need in just a few more hours. Finally, we learn who's behind this shadow scheme. The rogue Underworlder, Baron von Blut. He's the one who stole the Shadow Battle Gear in order to create shadows to sow chaos and force an all-out war. Von Blut would then swoop in and conquer Param once the 4 tribes are too weak to oppose him. We collect all but 1 Mujic fragment held by Von Blut himself, and we see Maxor losing to Von Blut's shadows in an effort to rescue Kaor. And now, it's time for the final boss. Von Blut and his shadows are extremely powerful, and very difficult to beat. And look at this! Starting with Cannon of Causality? That's just shameful. Cowardly, even! What kind of pathetic, weak-willed fool would be so pitiful as to have their first move be such a powerful Mujic? Listen, this fight's really hard, okay? This battle is the hardest in the game by a lot, and it's why I never once used any Cannons of Causality in my stock, as well as being conservative about my Song of Resurgence uses, because, as mentioned before, they're going to spam Cannon of Causality, which damages as much as Song of Resurgence heals. Not only that, but Shadow Kaor has Armageddon, which deals 30 damage! Remember when I said only 15 was a heavy hit? Thankfully, my Maxor scan has the same move, and I know to wipe out Kaor first before he has the chance to use that nuclear option more than once. I'm gonna be honest, once we get rid of Kaor and Momark, who's been spamming those damn Mujiks, there's really nothing that Von Blue can do to stop my team, which I've been spending this entire game building with the express purpose of countering this very fight, because it is very difficult, and I had only ever beaten this fight once before in my life. Once Von Blood is defeated, Tom completes the Mujik and passes it to real Maxor, who renders the Shadow Battle Gear useless, forcing Von Blood to retreat. Kaor is freed, and Param is saved. My biggest disappointment with this game is that once you finish the game, your save file is completely and utterly worthless. I'm serious, you cannot play this game on this save anymore, not including the crappy multiplayer versus mode. This is such a disappointment, as a New Game Plus feels so perfect for this game. Starting over the story again, but you get to keep all your scans from the previous run? That'd be perfect! Especially since Underworlders are so late in the game that you never get any real time to play them. This is one of the reasons why I play Overworlders, because you get a wide variety of them before you hit the difficulty spike of the game. Well, also because I think Maxor and Tingith Toborn are badass, but that's not the point here. New Game Plus would encourage full playthroughs of multiple different tribes, rather than just making it smartest to either use Overworlders or Mopedians and nothing else. A game that alienates half its roster is a disappointment in every way. And the lack of music in the platforming section of the game makes it very boring and loses most of its splendor and magical energy. Combine that with the fact that battles can honestly feel like a slug, especially if you're trying to scan one of your opponents, makes me feel like I have to give this game a 4 out of 10. It has some honestly fun, challenging combat that encourages strategy and planning, but so much of the game feels boring that it's easy to just want to put the game back on your shelf and never look back. Still, for those who remember Chaotic and long to play the game again, this offers the best. Still, for those who remember Chaotic and long to play the game again, this offers a largely faithful recreation of the game's rules. If you want to play it, the Xbox 360 version is the best place to play it, as there are no tedious and imprecise motion controls, with some honestly really nice looking graphics. I played the Wii version because it's what I have and I'm already too far gone as it is. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Check out my buddy Tyler Crux, he does a lot of fun stuff over on his channel, like his Dispatch Let's Play. Definitely check that out if you haven't already. We collab all the time. I'll catch you later, nerds.